Welcome back, everybody. It is me. It is the Cyber Warrior. This is Cyber Warrior Studios, and I know you were all here for another amazing episode of Security Happy Hour. And I got a big show planned. It's been a few weeks since I've had a brand new guest on, so I'm absolutely ecstatic to have a brand new guest that y'all have never seen before on the show, and it's going to be amazing. So if you haven't done so yet, like, comment, subscribe, share this episode so that everybody can see it. Let's get more people into the live. And I promise if you hang on for about 10 seconds, yes, just 10, it isn't that long, I'll be right back. See, we're back. It doesn't take long, 10 seconds. I've counted, all right, I checked the video, it's only 10 seconds. But with us this evening, I have the one, the only Rachelle. And she is actually absolutely amazing. I talked to her yesterday. We had a little catch up because she was like, hey, let's have a talk. And then I was like, hey, come on the show. So with that being said, Rachelle, please introduce yourself and let us know what's going on, who you are, and how you got into cybersecurity and GRC most especially.
Absolutely. First and foremost, Cyber Warrior, Derek, I so appreciate you. I salute you. My name is Rachelle Waite-Bey, president and owner of Waite SLTS, Secured Line Technology Solutions, providing cybersecurity consulting services focused on GRC. I'm an Air Force veteran.
Veterans Unite, baby. Let's go.
Go Mighty Blue. I was, and actually my career field was, I was a flight attendant in the Air Force. So it's easier to say where I have not been than to say where I have been, because I've traveled the globe. I've traveled the entire globe. So I got into cybersecurity once I got out in 2008, honorably separated. Started working with some of the top 5 consulting companies, and then branched out on my own. So love helping businesses protect their brand. Love helping individuals that are looking to get into cybersecurity, give them some of the tricks of the trade, always reach back and help. That's what we do, especially as veterans. We always reach back and help. And especially for women, like I have to see more of us.
Hold up. I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna tell you right now, Rachelle, I think women are the worst enemy to women. Because again, growing up with 3 older sisters, so I've had a lot of women on this show, and I love every single one that I talk to. They bring out some amazing information that others have never heard. However, what I have found on social media and in industry is, because it can be very, very difficult for a woman to get to a certain position. I'm like, and you're different. My friend Ryan Rosado, who was just on this show last week and has been on it a few other times. Like, y'all are of like a different breed of like, and I think it may just be the veterans. I don't know. But it's like, if I get up, I'm going to bring someone else up.
Absolutely.
What I see from a lot of women is, I'm going to get up, but I don't want anyone to threaten my space, so I'm going to kick you down. I'm going to tell you, like, and I'm not saying it's all, but I have seen that, and you see that a lot. Like, you see, whether it's looks or anything else, like, women are the worst to women. Like, it is absolutely blows my mind where men, you can talk shit to us and we'll be like, cool, hey, come on, homie, let's have a beer and come up to my level.
Right, exactly.
And like, y'all are just like, hey, I want to be there for women, but the moment someone says something bad or you don't agree with, it's like, no, I'm gonna kick you in the face. Like, you ain't all
you can't take it personal. You just can't take it personal. Number one, can't. Not at all.
but I see this all the time of like, let's help women, but then they don't help each other. Like, all this stuff about like pay and all this other stuff. Like, are you doing this for them? Well, no, I don't. I'm not interested in that. Then you can't argue it. Like you're losing your. You can't say help all women, but then you go talk. Like it's just it's a hard concept, and it's unfortunately I see more women tear women down than I do see women building women up, and that's I think is what is killing our industry right now when it comes to getting women into it is women.
I say we have to lock arms. Like when I have speaking engagements, and one
Yep.
of the last speaking engagements I was at, that's the one thing I said. You know, who would have known 30 years ago that we would have a career field of cybersecurity in high school? So as these new career fields come out, as these new job roles come out,
Yep.
we as women, we have to lock arms. Like we
Yes.
have to. Cybersecurity is so massive that we have to get through it together, and it
Yep.
can't. We have that balance has to be there, because you have to have the male. They think one way, women think another way. You have to bring the two of them together so you can accomplish, cybersecurity collectively.
Absolutely, and I think and that's one of the first options. So we're going to get into the GRC aspect because I know you do GRC
All right.
now, and your company does amazing things with GRC. But I think this is a very important aspect to talk about because I don't want to dismiss the negative connotations of what and again I talk to people all the time of what men have done to the industry. It was a very male dominated industry for so long. It's still male dominated, but there was no they didn't care. It was all like treat people however, we don't give a damn, like do whatever you want to do. And so now you got to change that atmosphere and change that thinking. But I if you're not going to stand up for each other, and then I see a lot of people where it's like, well, when's a balance come into play? It's like, well, when all women are CISOs, and it's like, but that's not balance. It's not taking into account the diversity of thought because there's a diversity in the way people think, and you have to acknowledge all of it. And so when you go to these extremes, and I think that's part of the issue we're seeing now is now we're seeing this extreme of it's well, you need to respect everything a woman says, but they've never been in the industry. So if they say the sky is green, do I need to believe that? And so it's just these extremes that we need to come find this balance and this middle ground of people that actually know what they're talking about. Yourself, my friend Ryan, and so many others that I've discussed this with. Like, don't judge people based on how they look, but the knowledge they bring to the table. And I think it's going to take time to do that because it was for so long a male dominated industry, and we're trying to bring more women into it. It's good. It's a growing process, and we just can't quit fighting for that. But you can't cut off your male counterparts that are fighting for it with you. And too many people are trying to cut that out.
I didn't know that part. But as you just stated, we're growing into it. We're already into it. We're just growing more
Yeah,
into it. So it's here. We've arrived. It's
we're
happening.
here and we're ready to kick ass
I don't know what else to
and,
say.
and chew bubble gum. But I'm all out of bubble gum. But no, I do. I respect the hell out of what everybody brings to the table, as long as you're bringing something to the table. And here's the thing: what people fail to realize is if somebody says the table's not for you, build your own.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to change an organization. Don't try to change a company. If they don't want to hire you, if they don't want to do something for you, then it's their
It's
loss.
leadership. Leadership.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's their loss.
Absolutely.
Take your brand, take your name, take your passion, take your love, take your knowledge somewhere where it's respected. Too many
Yeah.
people get in their head and be like, well, I didn't get this because I look like X, Y, and Z. You're probably I ain't gonna say you're probably right because that's not always the case. You may be right,
Mm-hmm.
but if you feel that way, go build your table. As long
Yeah.
as you don't exclude anybody, you
Yeah.
cannot judge a company but then do the same thing on the opposite spectrum,
Yeah.
and
It's an
that's what you
opportunity.
have a problem with.
Yeah, it becomes an opportunity. I was just speaking about that today. Not taking things personal, and then also if a door is closed, that means it's a new opportunity that's coming up for you. Just hone in on what it is you need to hone in on. Hone in on getting bettering yourself professionally with your skills, learning trades, just developing yourself to be what it is that you need to be, because another door is opening. You just have to
Yeah,
figure out what that door is.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like look at that because a lot of people look at things and say, "Oh, this door is closed." That door did, but why don't you make your own? And
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
I love what you're doing with weight, and
Hmm.
the fact that you probably and we're gonna get into a little bit more of how you started weight and got in the GRC some more, but
Absolutely.
um, it's making your own, make your own room, make your own building. Like I despise, and I did a video about this today or yesterday, maybe it might have been the day before, about forging your own path. Too many people wait for others to do something before them before they feel they can do it. Well, one, no two people are ever going to walk the same path. You're always there's always going to be differences and different obstacles in your way. But if you feel like everything's closed off to you, make your own room, make your own door, make your own way, make your own path. Quit trying to
Absolutely.
follow in somebody else's footsteps because sometimes those footsteps aren't meant for you. They're meant for the person that walked them. So doing what you did, getting to where you're at now, like that's your path to walk. That's your journey. That's how you got there. And so I get frustrated when people are like, I need somebody to do this so that I know I can do it. Just go do it. Like, why are you letting anything stop you? You're the one stopping you. Nobody else is. It's you. You and
Yeah,
you.
confidence and leadership, and looking out for someone else behind you. Because once you create that new path, you're going to be opening the door for other people.
Mhm.
It's a ripple effect. So you're opening that door, becoming the leader in that area, but then look at the other ones that that are looking up to you. They'll be
Yep.
following you.
Yep.
So
Definitely. And again, and people need to understand you can't, and I'll reiterate this, but your path is still yours to walk. So even though someone may have broken that glass ceiling, so to speak, of what is possible, it doesn't mean you can climb the same mountain. Like the handholds are going to be different, the avalanches are going to be different, everything's going to be different. You can still get there, but you're going to have your own obstacles and own things that you have to go through. So I don't even think the glass ceiling like exists. Your own limitations are on you. You limit
yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
If you listen to other people and they say, "Oh, well, you're a woman, you can't do this," or "You're this and you can't do this," that's on you. Have faith and heart in yourself, and if you want to do something, go out and damn well do it. Don't let nothing stop you. And I think,
absolutely.
fortunately, we're still in a point in time in society where people are allowing others to dictate what they're capable of.
Because it's happened for so long. It's
It,
happened for so long that
exactly.
it's a cycle that has to be broken.
And it takes each individual to break it. So
Yep.
one of the things we can go back to is like look at how long, whether it's sexism, racism, or anything, existed throughout the generations and everything. All it takes is one person to break that cycle. But there's
Totally
always
agreed.
going to be that cycle. So the way I look at it is there was a story told to me long ago. Actually, it wasn't told to me. I read about it, and a guy asked, was talking to. It was a Native American story, and they're talking to their chief or whatever, and it was, hey, you say everybody's good and evil. How do you know who's going to be what? And he said, well, everybody has two wolves in them. Two wolves. One's good, one's evil. The one that succeeds is the one that you feed the most. So, in the same vein, people can be brought up. You could have twins brought up in the same house of an alcoholic father that beats their mom, beats their kids, this, at the third. Those boys can have two separate decisions. One chooses the term of, well, this is all I know. I'm going to be an alcoholic and do exactly what my father did. The other says, I don't want to be this man. I'm going to be better, and chooses a different path. So it's the same way in society. You can either choose to live in that trauma, live in that generational nonsense of how people were brought up, or you can be better than it. Choice is always yours. So you can blame others, or you can do something different. And that's why when I look at things like this, I always say that you make your own decisions. No matter how you're brought up, no matter what you were taught, you make your decisions. So you either choose to be better and break out of that, or you play the victim card and say, this is all I know.
And I'm gonna go a little bit further. When you break out that cycle, look to the left of you, look to the right of you. Who is beside you or who is behind you? Bring them right along with you. Come on, let's go. For me, I'm like, come on, let's go.
That's me all day. And I'm in a management spot now. So like me, I'm like constantly looking at my team like, all right, who's ready to move up and like let's get them, let's bring them up. I need help, homie. Let's go.
Absolutely, right, exactly. Even creating like I might be getting into it, but creating like processes and systems that work for you. What if it works for the next person? Passing that information along. Passing that information along so they can learn too. And cybersecurity has the potential to bridge a gap. And it's a gap. It truly does. And it's a gap that's been happening for generations and generations. So it's important for leaders like myself, leaders like you, that are able to identify those people that are in those cycles and assist them with coming out of those cycles, so that we're able to bridge that gap.
So one of the best things I think I've been able to accomplish in my life is I get it in this industry, and a lot of the people I meet, there's always at least one or two that's an introvert. They don't know how to interact with others, whether they're autistic or whatever the case may be. They have a lot of social anxiety, and they're not able to kind of come out of their shell. Whether it's in deployment or through the military or whatever else, I've been able to accomplish that by interacting with people on a level that they don't realize that connects with them. And it's because I know what that is. I've been there. Even to this day, it's funny because I will tell people I don't like people. I do the show. I love everybody I talk to. But if you talk to me one-on-one and you get to know me, I don't like people. And it is because I see so much nonsense in the world, so much stupidity, so much just, it has to be my way or the highway, that I'm just like, I'm not behind that. Like, I don't agree with that. And there's so many nuances with people that I'm just like, I don't agree with this. So like, I tell people I don't like people, but in reality, like, I love people. You just got to know how to adapt and overcome and see where you fit in. And I've always been able to adapt to any situation. So I may not agree with everything, but I have enough that I agree with that I can adapt to this. I can listen to the same music as you. Yeah, I'll bop my head to this. Let's go. Or I can dress the same way as you, or I can go to the same stores as you, or I can, do whatever. So I've always been able to adapt my personality to that. But it's not because it's fake. It's because you learn to enjoy it, and you learn how different people interact throughout society. And I love that about me. And I've been able to bring people out of their shells because I can talk to their level and I know what they're going through. Because if I go to a party or a bar or something like that and I don't know anybody, I'm the one hiding in the corner like, let me drink my beer, leave me alone. I don't
You got to meet people where they are.
But you start talking to people, then it changes. Then, like, me, get a few drinks in me and have someone that I can be on the same level with, and whoo, I don't shut the hell up ever.
Yeah, just meeting people where they are. It's kind of like you were saying, the two sides, the good side, the bad side.
Yep.
I love people. And like you, I will have a conversation with someone that has that introvertish side that speaks louder than their extroverted side. So when it comes to, for example, if someone is self-centered, I am looking to bring out the side that that shows them to look at other people besides themselves, seeing how they can serve someone else. What is it? What type of value are you bringing? Can you bring to help someone else out? So it's But also at the same time, you'll learn from that person who is self-centered to take care of yourself. So if you're not taking care of yourself, you can see what that person who's self-centered is doing and say, you know what? I think I need to take a day off because I'm not feeling the best right now. So it's a situation.
It is. It is. And, all right. So this is the last comment to make. Then we're going to get into GRC and stuff like that. But
Okay.
I think this is a very valid conversation, and it needs to happen more. People need to be able to engage like this more. But one of the things that I have found is maybe it's because of how men were treated for so many years, and it still continues to this day, which is why I'm such a big proponent of men's mental health and things like that. But in general, we as society don't think about ourselves, right? Unless you're a narcissist or a sociopath or whatever. Like, generally speaking, humanity who cares about others does not take care of themselves. So a mom and a wife will take care of their kids and or their husband before they take care of themselves. A husband and or a father will take care of everybody else before they even think about themselves. Generally. There's exceptions to every rule, but generally. So, and again, we're going to get into a little bit of a generalization here. Women tend to be more emotionally reacting. Men tend to be more logically reacting. Not always the case. Don't fucking fillet me, all right? Don't burn me at the stake. It's a generalization, but tend to be. So, and this is where me and my wife differ because I now wear more of my heart on my sleeve and want to talk more emotionally and actually get more in touch with what's going on in our relationship, communicate, things like that. But it's because when I don't do that, I'm an asshole. Let's be fair. I'm an asshole when I don't open up and voice my issues. My wife, different things altogether. But I say this because as we go through things, if we are not willing to communicate, if we are not willing to share what is going on, it's going to pose a problem. And that's in everything we do. And so those that are narcissists always take care of themselves before others. Those that aren't take care of others before themselves, meaning they don't speak. Where'd she go? She left me. All right, anyhow, she'll be back. But yeah, those that don't speak. And so when you're looking at situations of stances, and we were about to talk about GRC. When you're looking at situations where you're not taking care of yourself, it is because we have these differences, and neither of us take care of ourselves. Women take care of their husbands and their kids more. Husbands bury their emotions and take care of everybody else more. Same way. As an adult, you take care of others usually more than you take care of yourself. And so as an adult, you need to learn to take care of yourself first, because you can only help others if you're healthy. It's the biggest thing behind that. I don't know where she went, and I want to talk about NIST. So let's find out where she went. But we're going to keep the show rolling. If you have questions, post them in the chat, please, because I think her StreamYard died. I think her connection died. So post them in the chat so we can keep the conversation going. I don't know where she went. Griffin, InfoSec, thanks for being here, buddy. Love you. National Institute of Standards and Technology. Yes, that's what it is. It said post your questions, bitch. Don't be an asshole. Love you, William. Hey, make sure like, subscribe, and comment. If you're on YouTube, please, super chats are greatly appreciated. Other than that, we're gonna keep it rolling. Oh, there she is. She's back.
Back in full effect. My bad. My apologies.
I was like, where'd she go? She's
right.
dead.
I don't know. Back in full effect.
Turn your phone sideways.
Okay.
There you go. All right. Now it takes up the whole screen.
Okay.
So, all right. Let's get into it. Let's talk about NIST a little bit. And then me and you can talk off air about kind of some of these other conversations because they get more deeper than cybersecurity for sure. I love it personally. It's who I am. But NIST itself is a bitch of a framework. Do you feel it's enough?
Is it enough? I think it is. So there's different frameworks. Yeah, I mean, zero
We're just
trust.
talking NIST.
Right.
Just NIST.
I mean, zero trust. They're coming out with that publication. The 800-171.
You know more than I do. Shit. Fuck, I'm screwed.
It's 14 domains. Look, it's 14 domains, 130. Well, never mind. That was about to be real geeky vibe.
You can do it. Look, this is security happy hour. Get geeky, damn it. Let's do it.
My bad. No, but if I think it is enough. Honestly, I think it is enough. It's just that, well, if you have every single one of the requirements in place that need to be in place, tailoring them, yeah, that's wonderful because some systems are interconnected. No problem. But if you have it where all of the requirements are truly in place and you're not creating plans of actions and milestones to have them implemented, yes, I truly believe that it's a excellent framework.
Do you think it's enough? So, how much do you know about PCI DSS?
I know.
All right. So, do you think these frameworks and regulations are enough, or is it just the bare minimum?
So it's funny you mentioned that. CMMC just got passed. Well, level 3. CMMC is the cybersecurity model, maturity model for certification. Level 1 is the, oh my goodness, level 1 is the level that if you have a business, if you even if you do it personally, like, level 1 needs to be in place, period. Everyone needs to have level 1 in place, and there's only 15 requirements that need to be in place, making sure that your systems are secured, making sure that you're managing your assets, you know what you have, things like that. It's the bare minimum. Level 2, where you implement 110 controls. I'm gonna get geeky and
Do it. Let's go.
level 2 is 110 controls, and level 3 is 134 controls. Level 3, if you're doing any type of business with the contract, I don't care what level the contract is, especially federal, local, state, any of that, it needs to be at level 3. And you need to, like, all of those requirements need to definitely be in place. But any business out there, that level 1 needs to be in place. Level 2, you're going to make sure that you have those policies really make a difference.
Mhm.
Policies make a difference. Making sure that you have those procedures and processes in place for the business, it allows, if there's a business that has a high turnover rate, how are you going to pass the information along to the next individual? Like, making sure that those processes and procedures are in place are highly important. And the policies, they tell you, it's the foundation for the business. It's going to tell you what needs to be in place, what doesn't need to be in place. And let me tell you, one other thing is the service level agreements, the SLAs. Some people are still working off of SLAs from the 90s. When are So you think if you were to have a legal matter, you're going to be protected with the SLAs from the 90s?
It's no way. You need to check, like, the SLAs need to be reviewed and updated on an annual basis.
Well, that's everything. That's your DR plan, your BC plan, and actually it goes beyond annual. It should be quarterly, technically. SLAs differently. SLAs should be annual, but all your other plans should be quarterly at a
Totally
minimum.
agreed. Yeah, totally agreed. And doing them quarterly, it makes so much of a difference because then, for example, a few months ago, there was an organization that was doing business offshore. That offshore business didn't have that country's policies in place. So the amount of it was close to it was close to the billions that they were fined for not having those policies in place.
Yeah.
And it, it it's simple things that businesses can have implemented, but they don't know where to begin. So they when you don't know where to begin, you do nothing.
Well, my biggest problem, and I talk about this every GRC episode, and then I'm going to get into Griffin InfoSec's questions.
Okay.
My biggest problem with the regulations, the frameworks, and the policies is I don't feel they're technically in depth enough. I think they're so vague that you can bypass just about any audit by doing the bare minimum. And by that I mean it'll say, hey, have a firewall that blocks X, Y, and Z. But they won't review your ACLs because your ACLs are 1,000 lines long. So it's just like, yeah, I'm blocking it. They don't know if you are or not. They really don't know. And so when I look at things like that, I get frustrated because I don't necessarily put it on the, I mean, it is on the framework and the regulation because they are vague enough that you can get by with anything. But I also put it on the auditor. I think enough auditors, the way they do things, they become friends with these companies because it's not mandated to have a new auditor every 6 months or a year. It's just have an audit done for this. And only so many companies do it. So you become friends. You figure these people make billions of dollars a year, millions of dollars a year. They're friends with all the companies that do audits. And they know everybody. Yeah, pass them. You're good. You're good. It's okay. It's okay. He'll be fine. He's faking. It'll be like you look at things like this, and this is why I say our cybersecurity within industry, within critical infrastructure, within whatever, is trash. If it wasn't, you wouldn't have Windows XP and Windows 2000 systems out there running medical equipment or energy equipment or something like that. But that shit still exists, which means the regulations and the policies behind it aren't strong enough to force a change. But at the same time, you got greedy assholes that charge billions of dollars to reinforce medical equipment.
So what do you think should happen? What do you think should be done?
That's the problem with the society we live. Because I got two frames of thought.
Okay.
I want smaller government. I honestly, the less government, the better. So part of me is like, fuck government regulation. They can get bent and go fly a kite because it just means more money to them. But the other side of me says that's the only way you can implement policy and procedure is to, if you don't do X, we will put your ass out of business. And so it's a catch-22. I honestly, I don't think there's a fix because I think the only fix is human nature, and it's not going to change until you get rid of currency. There's no way to fix it. Greed is the enemy, and every company is going to be greedy, trying to make more money off of saying yes, we can do X, Y, and Z. And for example, you've got hospital systems that were implemented in, say, the early 2000s for billions of dollars. And back then, billions went further than billions do today. So now they were like, oh, yeah, we guarantee updates and fixes and da-da-da-da for the next 5-10 years, whatever the case may be. They went bankrupt and broke within 3 years.
Wow.
Now how do you fix it? You got to buy a whole new system, which is now going to cost you billions more.
And also, you need the employees. You need the personnel. You need that personnel.
So it's a catch-22. This is why the bad guys are always going to be ahead. And I hate to say it, as someone who has lived in the blue team for years, I absolutely hate to say it, but the bad guys are always going to be ahead because they don't have regulations, they don't have stipulations, they don't have anything. They don't have somebody telling them, "Oh, you can only test these IPs." No. They're going to sit there and fucking bankrupt your ass. They're literally going to sit there and be like, "Let's run an Nmap scan against the system." Oh, you didn't give me a limit of scans. I'm going to just keep going until that bitch is dead. I don't care.
You brought
You're
up
running
something.
a 13, 20-year-old system? Bet, homie. Let's go. Let's figure out if we can withstand the heat.
You brought
Find
up
out.
something earlier. You said the disaster recovery, DRPs. Having those tested, it makes a huge difference. Having an exercise, your main team, that essential team that knows what needs to be in place in case of the disaster. When that disaster, listen, I don't care what. No business is too small anymore. You're gonna go through a disaster. You got to figure out what your business needs to do to stay in business.
Yep.
What your business, and I went to a cybersecurity conference earlier this year. There are a couple of states that are making it illegal for the business to pay a ransomware fee.
Good. Fucking good.
They're making it illegal. So if it's going to be illegal for a business to pay that ransomware fee, what's the business going to do? And sometimes some businesses, they think they're too small to be breached.
Fuck no. Give me a target. You realize the small businesses are the best to hit? All they got is a consumer grade router fucking sitting there protecting their shit.
Absolutely.
It takes one email to breach everything because they're running the baseline of everything. They don't have an E5 license.
Yeah,
They don't have
absolutely.
shit.
There's a power washing company that was breached. A mom and pop's power washing company they were breached. They had to pay. They had to pay the ransomware fee, or what they did is um, they had to start over from the beginning. But
Dude, look, buy a new computer? Like, let's be honest. I get it. Your systems are gone. But here's the thing. This is why I disagree. I don't disagree. This is why I do not like cloud solutions. People become reliant on cloud, and they think it's always going to be there. They think it's always going to exist, and this and the third. I have legitimately seen companies who mapped OneDrive and other cloud locations that also had their backups on it to computers. And so when that computer got hit with ransomware and it migrated to all the mapped drives, it hit the backups. Good luck, homie.
At that point, you just go get some. Look, then they need to come to the happy hour.
Right? Have fun. But so here's my thing about regulations and requirements and things like that. So when you look at cloud, it's a shared security framework model, which people don't understand. People don't get it. Just because you go to the cloud doesn't mean you don't need a firewall. Doesn't mean you don't need X, Y, and Z. All the shared security framework model gives you is, hey, we maintain your data and we have the physical security. Yes, it goes beyond that, but I essentially consider it as they handle physical security. You have to handle everything else, just like if you had your own data center. Everything else. And so I think people forget that. So when you look at these frameworks, when you look at the regulations, because things are constantly changing, they don't keep up with the changes. Look at how many S3 buckets were public for the longest time, because that was the default by AWS. It was the default. It's all public. Screw it. Let everybody access it. Then they changed it because now, oh shit, people can find these. People can do this. Da 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 da. When is security going to become a factor in the initial thought process for development?
And there's a lot of startups that are starting, a lot of startups that are here, and they did not think about implementing cybersecurity before. They're just focused on going online, making bringing in traffic to their website, but they're not thinking about cybersecurity from the
Make the
beginning.
blinky lights blink.
Yeah. Let me see that the amber light just
So even myself, so I had a dude that was on my team when I first started Cyber Warrior Studios before I went solo and cut everybody else off because they weren't, helping out. I had a dude that was on the team. His account got hit. It hit my AWS. They literally thrashed when I was hosting my own site before I went somewhere else. Thrashed my entire shit. I had to get into the back end because they didn't get into the back end. Thankfully, I was the only one that had access and fixed everything. But as far as the website itself, that was gone. I had to
wow.
bring everything back, and it wasn't because I didn't think of cybersecurity. It was because I figured the people I had on staff knew enough. They were all cybersecurity people that this wouldn't happen. No, that was my own short-sightedness and faithfulness in people that you're going to protect your own shit. It was like 4 people I had on staff at the time, and then everybody got cut off. I was like, "You out? I'm just going to do this on my own."
That
Screw
was
it.
the straw that broke the camel's back.
Dude, when I lost my site completely, and I tried to maintain it for a while, but it was just I was like, I'm one dude. I can't do all this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go somewhere else. Let
Okay.
someone else host my shit. It
Yeah.
will be all right. But I think other people do that, right? They start a company and they think, oh, I can do all this. But can you? Are you
Yep.
sure? So saying that, I got a bunch of questions here in chat. Griffin
Oh, let's go.
InfoSec is awesome.
Let's
So,
go.
first and foremost, favorite framework and least favorite.
I don't have a least favorite. Simply because most of the frameworks are similar. Favorite framework is probably IR 8401,
What's that one?
hybrid satellite.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, hybrid satellite. So, command and control. So another for critical systems.
Oh, that
These,
makes sense.
yeah, critical systems they have to have some type of framework in place. Um, they have to show that they're implementing proactive cybersecurity measures. That
Right.
framework, if that framework is implemented, good as golden.
Okay. So you said you don't have a least?
I don't have a least.
So you have no framework that you despise more than any other.
Not for me. What about you?
PCI DSS. And it's because of the auditors. I worked for a company that had to be the strictest possible,
Mhm.
but it was a family owned company, so to speak. We ain't gonna say what it was. And because they were friends with the auditors, they were able to bypass everything. But that being said, I also looked at the regulation. Now, this is going back some years. It's been a while since I looked at PCI DSS. Let's be fair. But back then it was, do you have a firewall? Yes. All right, you're good to go. It wasn't, let's look at the rules. Let's look at the ACLs. Nothing like that. It was, is there a firewall in place with rules that restrict access? Yes. Cool, bet, homie. Good to go.
Pass.
So it was PCI DSS for a while
Mhm.
was check the box. No matter who you were. If even if an auditor came in, yeah, they could be more strict. But at its inception, I think a lot of regulations, frameworks, things like that at their inception were check the box. Even to this day, you can bypass any pen test because most of them say, have you been pen tested? Yes. It doesn't say what subnets. It doesn't say what networks. It doesn't say whatever. It just says, get a pen test. I'm gonna restrict you to the one that's not gonna break when you run Nmap. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but PCI-DSS is by far the bane of my existence because I despise that piece of shit. I don't think it's strict
It's just a pain point. It's just a pain point.
I don't think it's strict enough. I don't think the auditors have their feet held to the fire for what goes on because you can make friends with them. Again, I think it's more of an auditor thing than a framework thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if the framework was stricter, the auditors wouldn't be able to get away with what they get away with. So
They just within the past year, they had the newest what was the newest version that just came out?
4.0 is what Griffin InfoSec said.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks,
So,
Griffin. InfoSec.
oh, he's my boy. I love him. He's actually been on this show before.
Okay.
I'll send you the link. He's good people. Good people.
Okay.
Who else hates FedRAMP?
Can't say I hate FedRAMP. Can't say that. No, sirree, Bob. Yeah. No. And the reason there are some businesses they need to implement controls. They need to have these requirements in place.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather have guidance from FedRAMP and say these controls need to be in place. This is what needs to happen than to not see anything at all. Not
Yeah.
seeing anything at all can not only affect that business, but it can have a ripple effect.
Because CMMC is federal,
Mm-hmm.
how does FedRAMP and CMMC correlate? Like, how do they kind of work together? Because I've heard companies say they got to be FedRAMP, but then I've heard others say they got to be CMMC. So, what is the correlation between the two?
800-171, NIST 800-171 is related to both FedRAMP and CMMC. So
Right.
you're going to find some of the same controls. The it's federal, but then you look at NIST 853 and you're going to see those controls implemented for agencies, DoD, things like
Right.
that. So there's more leeway and doesn't have to be
Which has more leeway?
It 171 or
Okay.
CMMC compared to 853.
Okay.
So but that's because of the critical information.
Right.
You're going to see more controls in 53 versus than in 171 and in CMMC. But all three need to be in place. Like I wholeheartedly believe that all three need to be in place.
Do you think that Do you think that FedRAMP is strict enough for the critical infrastructure and the places where it's required?
Yeah, because they have the low, moderate, and high levels. So they're taking into consideration the systems that are not critical, and they're also taking into consideration the systems that are critical. So if you have a critical system, you have to implement those high controls. If it's not critical information, all right, cool, low or moderate, depending on what type of information is on there.
So we're gonna talk a little bit more about that off air because I got some fun times.
All right, say less. Say less.
What frameworks do you recommend for companies to follow?
Depends on if they are handling CUI, FCI, if they're handling CUI or classified, confidential, unclassified information, or federal contract information, FCI, CUI. If that type of information is being used, CMMC, period. CMMC, period. You need to work with someone to find out if it needs to be at level 1, level 2, or level 3. Again, I'll say if you're just a business, like if you have if you're doing printing shirts for someone, you need to be at level 1. I believe you need to be at level 1. You're doing shirts from your house. You still have a system. You need to be at level 1.
Right. Yeah, I think for me, CIS and NIST,
Mm-hmm.
800, 171 for NIST. For CIS, it's just benchmarks. But
Mm-hmm.
either way, I think accomplishing the bare minimum, but I would go at least one level higher for any organization.
Yep.
So the more you can implement, the better, and be stringent about it. Be dedicated to it. Um,
Absolutely.
Especially when you're looking at things like identity management. I
Mm-hmm.
think that goes by the wayside because we will put people and create accounts and do things that give them admin or semi-admin accounts,
Mm-hmm.
and then neglect it when it comes time to, hey, they were let go. Now, this is one of the big things that I have an issue with, especially now with cloud.
Yep.
So you still see companies going about things the old-fashioned way of let's create 10 accounts for people for each different area they need to have access to. With cloud, you have privilege identity management. So you're able to select certain roles that you need to access certain environments, which means you should only have one account, and that account only needs to do X, Y, and Z based on the PIM role it selects. Um, Having multiple accounts to me is a detriment because now you are giving access. If somebody gets that elevated account, I don't need any other account now. I got this one, which is going to give me access to whatever I want.
Keys to the kingdom.
Whereas if you have one account with PIM, now I need to know, I need to actually get access to your Azure environment or your AWS environment or your GCP environment to be able to do things. But if you give them multiple, I just need your admin account. And go ahead, go on the internet and click the wrong link because your dumbass allowed servers to connect to the internet.
You hit on something earlier. You said just a few minutes ago, you said access. Having those access reviews, um,
Huge, huge.
absolutely. Absolutely. Because like you just said, you have someone who left the company. Once they left the company, what parameters are in place to ensure that that access has been revoked?
And if you have multiple accounts, how can you maintain that access review? Because
Agreed.
now I've got 5 accounts I got to look for
Yep.
instead of one.
Yeah.
You don't need 5 accounts. You need one, and just ask for permissions to what you need access to.
We need to put you on a bullhorn.
UAC is a thing, my guy. PIM is a thing. There is no reason to have 20 accounts to access different levels of shit. I have a client to this day. There is an account to gain access to the environment. You get email, da 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 da.
Mhm.
There's another account that gives you admin access if you have the right access packages to the Azure environment.
Mhm.
There's another account that gives you admin access to actually have administrative privileges to servers and such like that.
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, one account. One account is all you need. Just one. We got away from this with cloud and PIM and everything else. Just like
Life is a
privileged
circle.
identity management. That's the whole point. Like, why? Why do I have 5 accounts that I got to log into? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. And they're like, oh yeah, all of them. And I'm like, this is ridiculous, my guy. Look, if somebody bypasses your basic user authentication and MFA, it's too late. At that point, it is too late. They're already in. And if it's an IT guy, they're going to get everything anyways. Because they probably saved all their ridiculous passwords that they need to their computer. Just saying. Because these passwords have become redonkulous. Good luck. Have fun. I now know you're an enterprise.
So yeah, reviewing access rights and even password changing. Password changing too.
Password changing needs to go out the window.
What are we
Goodbye.
supposed to do at that point?
Like, what's changing your what you need to do is implement actually difficult passwords
Yeah, absolutely.
and then leave it go. That shit should be unlimited. Unless it's breached. If it's breached and it's leaked, then you got to change it. But other than that, leave that bitch go. Don't ever change it again. That has been Microsoft's recommendation for probably the past 2 years. 2 years? Do not change passwords. Implement a strong password.
Oh man.
And then leave it go.
Yeah, that implementing a strong password is highly recommended.
And it's called length over complexity. Just saying.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
30 characters is better than 8 characters with multiple fucking types of characters. Just saying. Write a complete goddamn sentence, and then nobody's gonna break it. Hi, my name is the Cyber Warrior, and I will fuck your day up is a better password than plastic. Just saying.
Whatever works, as long as it's working.
Just saying. But yeah, no, good times. So what do we have? Oh, I got a good one here. What do you think about GDPR? Are we way behind trying to catch up with the CPRA? I don't know the CPRA. That one escapes me. What do you think about GDPR?
I think if you're doing business offshores, you better have it in place.
Do you think it is? All right, so we're gonna get into some U.S. shit here. Do you think it is better than anything the U.S. has in place to this day for privacy?
I mean, it's two different realms. It's all security, two different realms. Um, do I think it's better? That's what you're asking?
Yeah. So to my knowledge, other than California, no other state and/or anywhere else in the country allows you to forcibly tell a company to delete all my information. Because as we know, if something is free, you are the currency. Your data, your information, whatever you do.
Mhm.
GDPR allows you to pull down whatever information the company has and forcibly tell them to delete it. Get rid of it all. Meaning they cannot sell your data to somebody else. That's not to say they don't. Everybody fucking does whatever they want anyways because it's a company and they make money. But technically, by law, if you find out, you can press charges. With California being the only state that I know of that actually enacts something similar, not to that extent, but similar. What are your thoughts on GDPR and data privacy? It's a hard one, ain't it?
That one, I mean, I'm all for privacy. I'm all for not sharing my information. If I said don't share my information, and I guess, I mean, I don't know. That one, I'm not positive. You got me stumped on that one. You definitely got me stumped on that one.
So here's the thing. I love GDPR and I hate GDPR.
Okay.
I love GDPR because it forces companies to delete your information
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
as long as they abide by it. There's no way to prove whether or not they do unless you press charges for something else being leaked out. But you would have to then wipe every site, wait for a site to get breached, find out your data got leaked. It's a whole process. I hate it because it is relying on you to do something. I would rather companies be forbidden from storing data about individuals. Because ads and a bunch of other things rely on companies selling them data.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If you're going to impose a law, a regulation, or whatever that protects privacy, just forbid gathering my personal information altogether and selling it to somebody. You should not be able to sell my personal data. Not my height, weight, age, sex, gender, color, whatever. You should not be able to sell that to anybody. You should not be able to sell and promote ads based on what I search on Google. It should not be allowed.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
like, for me, from my perspective, I agree with the intent. I disagree with the need. Because if you're going to make something for free for the public, that's on you. My information should not be the currency. But unfortunately, that's the society we live in today. People are greedy and have developed ways to sell who you are to other companies to sell you more shit. And that's just the way it is.
And what about like the security measures you can put in personally that prevents any of that information being or be given
UK
the
is fighting
opportunity?
that. EU and UK are fighting that. They're fighting encrypted channels. They're fighting everything that hides who you are and every message you send. So think about it this way. Apple iPhone 16 has iPhone has AI now. Now I haven't ordered one. It doesn't take it. But so the concept is it scans for everything, does all these things, and it's supposed to be for COPA and all this other stuff, which is great in theory. I love what it's trying to do. But let's think of what it really does.
Okay.
It's also going to scan for and read what you're searching, what you're doing, what you're talking about, and what all else is important about you. So this is the problem I have with it. You see, I agree with the premise. I disagree with how it's enacted across the board.
Because why is that? Why do you disagree with it across the board? But at the same time you agree with the premise.
The way it's enacted is an invasion of privacy and who we are. And that they sell all the data. Apple can literally scream up and down the mountain that they are all for privacy. But we know, or anybody in industry should know, they're selling that shit to whoever they can make money from.
Okay.
Google at least openly admits, hey, we sell all your information.
Okay.
And other companies openly admit they sell all your, it wasn't open initially. But eventually Facebook came around and said, oh yeah, we're selling all your shit. We're selling all the data we have on you. I disagree with selling it, but the premise of what they preach, what it's for, I agree with. If it's to capture COPA and CP and all this other and all this other bullshit that goes on, I'm all for it. But the fact is, I know they're selling the data to other people.
Okay.
That's what I disagree with.
Okay.
They're selling all your shit. So the privacy isn't really there. That's my problem. It could be me being a cynic and not trusting any technology company out there too. So I feel like I'm the currency everywhere. But at the same time, I'm an asshole. Sell my shit. Go for it, homie. Cheers. Go for it. What are you going to get from me? I'm an asshole? You're right.
Got the look at the t-shirt.
Just saying, let's go.
Been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Right? So all right. So another question. Do we we're over the top of the hour. So holy
I didn't even know
shit.
this.
Damn, I didn't realize what time it was.
I didn't either.
Last question. Do we need more enforcement, not more compliance frameworks?
Enforcement is a part of, well, I mean, it depends on what you're speaking of when you say enforcement, because it's a part of the compliance frameworks. The frameworks include personnel, so physical security. So depending on which level 2, level 3, when it comes to that physical security, you're going to have those requirements in place when it comes, which relates to the enforcement.
Makes sense. Yeah, and you should have both. I get that. we definitely need more enforcement. We need auditors to be held accountable. But I did see one last question here. Sky Baby, who is a fellow veteran, it looks like. I do want to put this question up there. Rachelle, what is the best place for those of us who Marines and other mentally impaired folks? The fact you put Marines and mentally impaired, I love that. Just saying, it kind of makes sense. Uh, that want to get into cybersecurity but don't have a technical background but are capable technically.
Oh
Ooh.
man.
All right.
Yo.
So before you go on, because this is the last question to answer. With this question, this is the final question, final statement of the night.
Let's go.
Give this advice to everybody trying to get into cybersecurity, because if you're a Marine, that means you're a crane eater. That means you're kind of a little slow. No, I love you all.
Nah.
I love you all. But let's be fair. Anybody trying to break into cybersecurity, including Marines, what advice would you give for this?
So the number one advice that I would give is to get involved with the Institute for Military Veterans and Family members. So www.iv as in Victor mf.com. ivmf.com. Oh bro. You good?
I'm good. An empty bottle was about to fall, and I had to grab it.
Okay. Yeah, ivmf.com. Excellent program for a veteran that is getting out, has been out, looking to get into technology, program management, project management. They have the Onward to Opportunity program, but and most importantly, entrepreneurship. So if either the veteran or the veteran spouse um, has any questions, IVMF is the most amazing organization, and I highly recommend them.
And I put that in chat.
Oh, excellent. Cool beans. Thank you.
www.ivmf.com is in chat. So we get to go.
Yep.
But no, for me personally, looking at the question and what's going on, just because you don't have enterprise technical experience doesn't mean you don't have technical experience.
Yep.
For me, build your own lab, do your own thing, set yourself apart. I had a conversation with somebody the other day about resumes and what they can do. Your resume, your labs, your everything you've built, everything you've done can go on your resume as experience. If you haven't had a actual job within an enterprise yet, and that'll get you entry level. Now, it's not going to get you $150,000, $160,000 a year. Please set your sights lower to an actual entry level job. You're looking at 60, 70, 80 grand a year, depending on where you live. It could go up to 100. If you're in California, maybe 250 for entry level because their cost of living is ridiculous. Who knows? But ultimately, look, I don't care where you come from. If you were in the military, if you weren't in the military, realize your expectations, build your own lab, do your own thing, and that's how you're going to get ahead. That's really how you differentiate yourself from everybody else. Degrees are a dime a dozen these days. Certifications are a dime a dozen these days. I care about what you've done on your own and how you want to make an impact. I am a hiring manager. If I call you and have an interview and you tell me, yeah, I got these certifications, that's all well and good. What can you tell me about if this breaks? What can you tell me about if Defender doesn't deploy, if there's an error installing it? How can you reiterate that to me and tell me how to fix it? Those are the things I care about from a senior and mid-level. From a junior level, I care about, are you trying? Yeah. Are you actually trying to do these things? Because if I'm looking for a junior deployment specialist or whatever, I'm going to ask what you're doing to learn now. I don't give a damn about your certs. Honestly, part of that is just so I can weed people out that have not attempted to try it all. But if you're actually trying and reach out to me, I'll talk to you. That's the difference. Network. If you reach out to me and tell me, hey, I need a job, I'm looking at X, Y, and Z, that's fine, but you better introduce yourself first and tell me why you're important to me.
Yeah.
Why I should pay attention to you. Rachelle did that to me. Me and her had a conversation the other day. She said, this is what I'm trying to do. Cool, bet, homie, let's talk.
That's
If
exactly how
your
it went.
first words to me are,
Mhm.
I need a job, please talk to me, we're not going to talk. We're not. Get to know me. I'll get to know you. And I'll find out what you can do. And that's most hiring managers out there, especially in cybersecurity. Get to know them. They'll get to know you. Post some shit. Let them know you know what you know. And they'll hire you. That's how things go. But look, before I go, Rachelle, any final words?
Final words. This Cyber Warrior Studio, like it rocks. Like it rocks. I'm digging everything about it, digging the energy, digging everything about it. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me at Shelly@waiteusa.com. That's SHELLY at yeah, at wait WAITE
Down there.
USA.com.
She has it down there.
That's it. That's it right there. Man, it was a pleasure. And whenever there's an opportunity, look me up and I'm here for you, brother.
Definitely. And hey, FYI, anybody trying to connect with Rachelle, her LinkedIn contacts are on the description and the YouTube video, LinkedIn video. I think they're the only ones that allow me to put a description in there. And Facebook, actually. So if you want to
Alright.
connect with Rachelle, the description is down below. Otherwise, look, I love you all, and I'm glad you're all here. If you're team replay, look, please like, comment, subscribe, follow. And if it is replay, the tips are greatly appreciated. Otherwise, cyberwarriorstudios.com. You can go to find all of my information. I do a hell of a lot more than just cybersecurity content. Most of what I do is motivation, mental health, and things like that. But saying all that, look, I love you all. You're all my warriors. You're all my family. Thank you for tuning in. And I will talk to you all next time.